Good morning, warm welcome. This is Sage. You're watching Kalkine TV live from Sydney. And this is the Global Markets Roundup show. Let's take a glance at how the global markets are flaring. And the global equity markets edged lower on Monday, though supported by the US shares hitting new highs, and while the Treasury bond yields eased and the dollar was a little changed as investors awaited jobs data that could sway the Federal Reserve's monetary policy. The Nasdaq and S&P 500 headed to all-time highs on Monday, fueled by the tech stocks as interest rates remain low, while investors awaited data on the US labour market due on Friday. And big tech companies including Facebook Inc., FB.O, Apple Inc., AAPL.O, Amazon.com Inc. and Nvidia Corp were among the biggest boosts to the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq. And the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 151.56 points, or 0.44%, to reach 34,282.28. And the S&P 500 gained 9.88 points, or 0.23%, to reach 4,290.58. And the Nasdaq Composite added 140.12 points, or 0.98%, to 14,500.51. Well, the Labor Department is expected to release its June employment data this week, and the labour market has been improving by leaps and bounds in recent months, and still investors and economists would be keen to know the progress in June for measuring the overall gains in the economy. And despite a skewed demand and supply balance, consumer spending has been strong, helping a swift recovery. And overnight, utility and tech stocks were the biggest gainers, while financial and energy shares retreated in Monday's session. Let us look at the major stock movers now. The Intellia Therapeutics stock jumped more than 47% after reporting positive results of its phase 1 trial of its gene editing treatment. And stocks of two other healthcare companies, CRISPR Therapeutics and Editas Medicine, which are also involved in gene editing technology, surged above 5%. Meanwhile, Micron Technology and Walgreens are expected to release their quarterly earnings reports today and tomorrow. Shares of Biogen Inc. declined 2.71% after concerns were raised over the high prices of its new Alzheimer's drug, Aduhelm, recently approved by the FDA, and the treatment would cost $56,000 a year. Then Boeing Co. stock shed 3.57% after the Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA, informed the company that its certification for the 777X jets for commercial service might not come until mid-2023. Meanwhile, the Chinese automobile maker NIO Inc. stock jumped over 9%, while Ford Motor Co., General Motors Co. and Volkswagen AG declined. And on the other hand, EV maker Tesla Inc. stocks advanced 2.54%. The tech segment provided the biggest boost to the Nasdaq and S&P 500 in Monday's session. And Apple Inc. stock rose 1.28%, and Microsoft Corp. increased by 1.06%. While Facebook Inc. jumped 4.79% and Adobe Inc. stock advanced 1.45%. In the financial sector, MasterCard Incorporated decreased by 3.21%, PayPal Holdings Inc. rose 1.33%, and Visa Inc. shed 1.53%, while Wells Fargo and Company declined 1.56%. And moving on, oil and gas company ExxonMobil Corp. shed 2.89%. Then Chevron Corporation and Royal Dutch Shell plc declined above 3%, while Enbridge Inc. ticked down 1.17%. The energy stocks declined ahead of a crucial meeting of the OPEC countries next Thursday, in which the grouping is likely to discuss the easing of supply cuts amid rising oil prices in recent weeks. And meanwhile, in the crypto world, Coinbase Global advanced 9.42%, Bitcoin and Ethereum rose 4.93% and 16.65%. Moving on now, let's take a brief look at the top gainers, beginning with the top performers on the S&P 500, which included Enphase Energy Inc. up 7.38%, Ftse Inc. up as well 7.36%, NRG Energy Inc. up 6.11%, Nvidia Corp. up 5.01%. Over to the Nasdaq now. The top performers were Marin Software Inc. up a huge 96.85%, QAD Inc. up 79.98%, Intellia Therapeutics Inc. up 50.21%, Audio Inc. up 43.66%. Over to the Dow Jones, Intel Corp was up 2.81%, Microsoft Corp was up 1.40%, Apple Inc. was up 1.25%, Salesforce.com Inc. was up 1.12%, and they were the leaders. Now we'll take a look through the top losers and the top laggards on the S&P 500. Were Carnival Corp down 7.04%, Royal Caribbean Cruises Limited down 6.47%, Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings down 6.09%, Nov Inc. down 6.00%, and on the Nasdaq, Exilius Inc. was down 23.06%, Chiromic Biopharma Inc. 20.10% down, Meta Materials Inc. down 19.60%, Oblong Inc. 17.93% down. Over to the Dow Jones, Boeing Co. was down 3.39%, Chevron Corp. was down 3.08%, and American Express Co. was down 2.76%, Travellers Companies Inc. was down 1.50%, and they were the laggards. Moving on now, let's now move on to the futures and commodities report. Gold futures were up 0.06% to US $1,778.80 per ounce. Then silver increased 0.44% to reach US $26.203 per ounce, while copper fell 0.25% to reach US $4.2787. And meanwhile, the Brent oil was down 1.75% to reach US $74.06 per barrel. And WTI crude decreased 1.70% to reach US $72.79. Moving on now to the bond market, the 30-year Treasury bond yields was down 3.31% to reach 2.097, while the 10-year bond yields decreased 3.54% to 1.482. And this is how the US market fared last night. It is time for a short break, and after the break we will take a look at the UK stock market. And now it's time for a short break, but please stay tuned as I'll be back with more trending updates.
Hi, this is Andy Liu broadcasting from Kalkine Media Studio in Australia, and I'll be hosting the new Kalkine Wellness Show. The half-hour show will cover topics from how wellness as a concept has become even more significant during COVID, to how becoming vegan may improve your health, and much more. We are excited to showcase our live streaming show to our audience of millions overseas and in Australia. Tune in to Kalkine TV and join me.
Welcome back. This is Sage, your host, live from the Kalkine studios, and you're watching the show, the Global Market Roundup. And we are looking at the global market trends amid the rate hike expectations and virus woes. We have looked at the US market chart before the break, and now we'll take a look at the latest updates on the UK market. The London markets traded in a red zone, dragged down by heavyweight financials and consumer discretionary stocks. And moreover, the Britain Prime Minister Boris Johnson confirmed that Britain would be on track to lift remaining COVID-19 related restrictions on 19th July 2021. And according to the leading researcher, the UK shopper numbers had dropped by around 0.2% for the week ended 26th June 2021 as compared to the prior week. Luxury fashion brand Burberry Group shares plunged by about 8.40% after the company's CEO had decided to step down at the end of the year. And meanwhile, the Ftse 100 listed NatWest Group stated that it had sold most of the Irish business to allied Irish banks. And moreover, the shares went down by approximately 1.54%. Then Carnival shares dropped by around 2.03% after the company posted a quarterly loss of around negative $2.10 billion US. Bediasem Greggs shares went up by around 2.57% after the company reported a stronger than expected recovery in sales since 10th May 2021. And moreover, the company will release interim results on the 3rd of August 2021. Let's take a look at the top 3 volume stocks in the Ftse 100. They included Vodafone Group plc, Lloyds Banking Group plc and Rolls-Royce Holdings plc. And the top 3 sectors traded in the green included healthcare up 1.24%, consumer non-cyclicals up 0.39% and utilities up 0.34%. The top 3 sectors, however, in the red included energy down 2.59%, consumer cyclicals down 1.32% and real estate down 1.28%. Let us now zoom our lens on the Australian share market charter. On Monday, the crude oil prices fell as much as 2% to a one-week low after hitting their highest since 2018 earlier in the session. And the surge in the COVID-19 cases in Asia and Europe has halted the rally before this week's OPEC Plus meeting. Australian energy shares such as Santos Limited, Viva Energy Group Limited and Woodside Petroleum Limited could take investors' portfolio to a downswing today. And meanwhile, the gold traded sideways as investors were caught between expectations of an early interest rate hike by the Fed and fears of a surge in the highly contagious Delta variant of the coronavirus. And on that note, investors could look at gold miners such as Silver Lake Resources Limited, De Grey Mining Limited and Newcrest Mining Limited for today's session. Moving on now to the metals space, iron ore futures in Asia saw an uptick on the backdrop of a consistent decline in portside stockpiles of the steelmaking ingredient in the world's top steel producer, China. And the most active September month iron ore futures contract on China's Dalian Commodity Exchange ended 2.1% higher at 1,196 yuan or US $185.31 per tonne, up for the 4th straight session. Given the scenario, local miners such as Fortescue Metals Group Limited, Rio Tinto Limited and BHP Group Limited should be on the investors' radar for the day. Frontline technology shares in the US such as Facebook and Nvidia surged to record highs on Monday, taking the Nasdaq 100 to an all-time high. And on Tuesday, the Australian tech space could mimic the rise of their US counterpart with shares such as Afterpay Limited, Xero Limited and BrainChip Holdings Limited to trade higher today. And meanwhile, stay-at-home stocks could be under the investors' radar. And that was the latest on how the market closed on Friday in the US, UK. And we also have looked at the expected Australian market charter for the day. So stay tuned with Kalkine TV for more market updates. And this is Sage signing off.